Hello. Ah, right. So I think we're somewhere now. Hopefully you can hear me. If anyone's watching this stream, having some mic issues just setting up there. Joys of Bluetooth and technology. But anyway, we're here for round 4 of FTRL. Excuse me, scraping that. Of ACC on FTRL. Season 3 of the GT4s. Well, season 1 of the GT4s, but this is season 3 on Assetto Corsa. We're at Brands Hatch this week, and actually our championship leader C Crips has got the provisional pole at the minute in the qualifying session. We've got about 8 minutes of it left now. It's a bit early on while dealing with those audio issues. It still looks a little low, so I'm trying to boost that up a bit if I can. Let's go with that. See if that makes it any better. Let's see who's on track then. Doing some laps. Got Blue Mosquito's had a great lap there. To second place and just 400ths behind our championship leader. A very solid start there for Blue Mosquito early in this qualifying session. Blue car number 65, who we see an awful lot on these games. Mighty Iggy, third place, he's currently in the pits. Bonage Town, nice lap there, putting him into 4th, and Cablo with a good one up into 5th as well. So remember that Ginetta is liking this track. It's going to be tricky to overtake, so I think strategy might play should play a bit of a part in this race tonight. So not really many heavy braking areas. You are sort of hoping that your opponent makes a mistake so that you can get through, and if they don't, you could well be stuck for a while. Of course, strategy rules are that you don't have to change tyres, you have to put a bit of fuel in. So one option, as always, is you put an awful lot of fuel in, so you only need to do a little splash of fuel just to qualify for your mandatory stop. And then you can just use your pit stop, try and find yourself some clear air, which might be probably the best way of doing that if you're a faster guy stuck at the back is an early pit stop, so maybe expect to see a few of those. The longer you go in the race, the more the field will spread out across the track, and finding some clear air will be particularly difficult. So that's what I'm expecting it to be. It'll be some of the guys probably stopping early. Some of the ones, whether they want to try and cover off the undercut or not, or whether they just want to stay in the battle, that's entirely up to you. Bonage Town's improved, and he's just half a second behind C Crips. Who else is on track? Mr. Grumpy on the Mercedes is on track. That's a very... I feel like he's changed that colour scheme for this week. I don't remember seeing it being quite so bright as that. I'm still messing with my audio settings a bit here. Yeah, Mr. Grumpy on track. We've got 5.5 minutes of this session to go, so we'll be at the race before you know it. Round the final turn, and is Mr. Grumpy setting a nice lap here? We'll soon find out as he comes across the line. And up into 9th place, 3 seconds off the pace at the minute. Duo Finn, is Duo out on track? Duo is out on track. Let's watch Duo then. Always someone to watch for fuel economy. Not setting a lap on this circuit. So the races are 50 minutes long, so at a guess then, 1:33s, we'll just do a bit of quick maths. 93 seconds, probably 33 laps we're looking at. Unless we have something like last week where the game called the race 10 seconds early. Hopefully we won't have any of that tonight. Let's watch Duo as he heads around and up the... I don't actually know all the turn names, I probably should find them out. Duo Finn goes up the straight up to this nice little section here. Fast right-hander. And then on a slightly slower one is your next turn. I'll go and find the corner names, because it's always nice to refer to them Probably just a little cut there, takes it nicely. And again, this one at the top of the hill, you do want to take a fair bit of curb, as Duo does. Always easy to run it out wide because there is no curb on the exit. It's just straight onto grass. As Duo caught a bit of grass on the way in, missed his brake point, ran wide. That's not going to help him. Down towards the final turn and see how Duo Finn has done on this lap. Down we come over the line and sets. He looks like a 136.5. Flying Frome has gone out and set himself a lap, and he's up to 4th. Let's see who else we watch. Cablo. Let's watch Cablo in that Ginetta. The always used orange and black livery of Cablo. And the back end getting a little squirmy there for him as he gets down towards whatever turn that is. So we'll might just try and see if I can dock something on my OBS. Let's just give this one a go. Sure, it's all fun and games listening to me set up. Okay, close, dock. Nope, that's the wrong one. One of these days I will learn how to use this program, but apparently not today. Slam that onto. There we go. If I just scroll around, I'm sure I can find a track map. Circuit, no, still struggling to find a track map at the minute, but Cablo goes down across the line. And he's in 9th place. That might be one there. Oh, still got to find the extended bit as they go up towards the rest of the circuit. There we go, first incarnation of the Grand Prix circuit. Let me have a look at those tracks. I mean, they look about right there. Well, there's certainly a fair few iterations of this track. Things you learn. That would seem to be the most recent one, is right, so now I've actually got a track map up. I can see what's going on. So let's go and watch Mighty Iggy. He's just finished a lap now. We've got 40 seconds left in qualifying, so you got to enjoy me finding a track map. So we'll go with C. Cripps, and he's up at the top of the circuit at Hawthorns, and then that's the Derek Minter straight. And then he comes a little right through Westfield. This little right-hander is Dingle Dell. Up towards the Sheen curve. That's the one you want to take a big lot of cut there. Heavy on the brakes into Sterling's, the left-hander. C. Cripps then looks like he's got pole position sorted as Flying Frome. He is on a lap. Seems like he's a long way off, and then that's through Clearways, and then Clark curve is your last turn as you come onto the straight. Runs a little wide there, so it's probably not going to help him out. Let's go on Flying Frome as he crosses the line. But C. Cripps doesn't improve. Flying Frome then, does he have anything in reserve? Doesn't look like it. That looked like he eased off an awful lot towards the line there. And blue flag comes across the line, stays 7th, does improve, smashes it into the wall just for fun. Oh, that is one beaten up looking car. And you wouldn't want to be doing that in real life, of course, but the joys of simulation racing is you can just smash your car and not worry about your mechanics having to get it fixed. Now, Mr. Grumpy then is going to be our... Oh, we've got Mr. Grumpy and Duo Finn are going to be the last two finish a lap as Mr. Grumpy comes down through the Clark curve towards the start-finish straight. I hope that doesn't go jittery all the way through. Mr. Grumpy stays 11th, and Duo Finn will come across the line to finish off qualifying. As there he goes 12th. So there's your standings for qualifying. C Crips takes pole, Mighty Iggy second, Blue Mosquito with a great laps third, Flying Throne fourth, Ponish Town fifth, great result for him. Taco 6, Blue Flag 7, Lee Cole 8, Cablo 9, Unsafe Release 10, Mr. Grumpy 11, and Duo Finn bringing up the rear. So that's your grid, and we'll be back in a few minutes for the race. So we'll see you soon. And we are back. So unfortunately with this game you do have to drop out and then come back in, and I've unfortunately missed the start there. I'll have to practice that one again next week. But as we've got to start off with, Miss C Crips then still leads, Mighty Iggy second, Taco's third, Flying Throne fourth, Blue Mosquito fifth, so he's having to drop back a bit off the start. Ponish Town 6, so Taco had a great start. Managed to get up through the grid. Luckily, no one seems to have been dropped behind, which is great. Didn't seem to have any incidents early on. So Mr. Grumpy has dropped to the back behind Duo Finn. But as we so often see in this series, it's Secrets leads Mighty Iggy at the front of this race. Tocco then up into third, has a great start, and flying from fourth means it's Mercedes 1, 2, 3, 4. Blue Mosquito is in fifth in that Aston Martin. Ponishtown has got blue flag then for company. There is the pit lane open. That's of course not for the pit window. Pit window opens later on. And that's then through Paddock Hill Bend, up Hallwoods Hill to Druids. We'll just watch Ponishtown as he come round this lap. This one, I think we're probably going to see, I don't want to sort of understate the amount of action that there'll be, but given the way these cars are and the way this track is, it is going to be very tricky to overtake, I think. So I suspect we may be seeing a few trains. Again, it's tough to really send a move in these cars anyway. And there's not really anywhere to send one on this track. So if you can force an overtake, you are looking to just get in your opponent's mirrors, try and force him into a stake. See what Flying Frome is doing. He's getting right up close then to Tocco. But if Tocco can just concentrate on his race and doesn't let himself get distracted by the guy behind, you're going to be okay usually. You're not going to struggle to keep someone back, you wouldn't have thought. Yeah, probably the main overtaking spot, you'd imagine. One of them might be down into the last corner here at Clark. Again, just because it might be a tricky corner, you might struggle to get the power down. And similarly, up the back straight, out of Surtees, then out towards Hawthorns. That'll be another one where, again, it would be just if you get on the power better than the guy ahead of you. You're unlikely, like I say, to be sending overtakes. Up into Druids, always a possibility, but again, you're waiting for a mistake. Maybe if someone goes wide, and we'll just see back here, as that's unsafe release does get a bit of a send on Lee Cole, pushes him out into the marbles a bit. And then Cablo is behind and Lee fits in as Mr. Grumpy. I've just seen he's off the track, and he has called it a day. So I'm not sure what's happened to Mr. Grumpy there, if he's just run wide. Or if he's had an issue. He was running at the back anyway, I think. There's Lee with Cablo right behind him. You're probably not going to see much in the way of slipstreaming. These aren't the biggest slipstream cars. It's mostly going to be about consistency, as it so frequently is, of course. Another spot you may see some overtaking. Again, it's all reliant on your opponents making mistakes. There's that left-hander into Sterling, but again, it will be if someone runs wide through the Sheen curve just in front of it. Oh, Mr. Grumpy's back. He's in the pits. He had gone. I'm not sure if he's going to come back out and rejoin the race. He does, it'd be nice to see, even if he's a lap down. There's Frome's got almost pushing Tocco around. Now, if I remember rightly, it'll be about 42.5 minutes will be when the pit window opens. I think it's 15 minutes, well, 15 minutes either side, so I think it's 7.5 minutes into the race. And it's a 35-minute pit window. So Tocco just struggling to get out of Surtees. Frome looking very interested, but nothing doing there. So you got to get a lot closer. You're really hoping for your opponent to make much more of a stake. Oh, bit of curb there. Oh, someone got on the dirt rather. Let's just go back as Cablo is harrying Lee Cole. It's always a lot of dirt being kicked up on the outside there, but again, struggling to get through. We'll pop back up to then Tocco, Frome, with Mosquito just lurking, watching. I'm not sure why that camera's so hidden. Snuck in the bushes there. It's not, it's not some kind of voyeurism that's going on here. You're watching a race, you're allowed to. You don't need to hide yourself away. Toco's just got a bit more of a lead then on Flying Throne. 2 at the front, we saw them last week, we've seen them most of the season. Cripps and Iggy always within a second of each other. They seem to have been like that for most of the season. Toco runs a little wide, Throne gives him a little nudge, and that's fine. That's all fine. Just a little tap there, just remind him that he's there. But nothing doing in terms of an overtake. Toco made a little mistake, but covered it off nicely. Nothing wrong with that. You can, of course, take whatever line you want through a corner. From looks like he's trying to get the power down. The Mosquito then catching up as a result of Toco's mistake, and a bit further back, Ponage Town looks like a bit of a cork in the bottle for these cars behind. That's blue flag and unsafe release. Unsafe release has caught up a lot considering the gap was 2 seconds at the last gap. So there's Toco, Frome and Blue Mosquito. That's going to be an optimistic move at Frome. Is he going to make that stick? Side by side through Sheen and then into Sterling's rather, and he does. So a very brave move, and that's how brave you've got to be. And that will probably change Flying Throne's tactics, as I would imagine he may have well been thinking about pitting straight away there if he couldn't get through. Now interested, no one fancies it. In the battle behind, these guys that are stuck behind Ponage Town don't fancy an early pit stop to try and undercut him. There's a lot of, you can see it on the track there, there's an awful lot of free tarmac at the back if you wanted to go for it. Ponage doing a nice defensive job, unsafe release, having a look at the outside of blue flag. So, can Flying Throne, having cleared Toco, can he get anywhere near Iggy and Cripps, or is he just probably going to settle in for that 3rd place for now? We'll see how his pace is. Those two were of course 1-2 on the grid, 1-2 in the race as they have been most of the season, like I say, 1-2 in the championship. So it wouldn't be too much of a surprise, but Throne is 3.7 seconds then behind Iggy. So we are 3.5 as they go through that sector. So again, he'll be hoping like last week that they can have a scrap, hold each other up a bit. Ponage will be keeping Blue Mosquito behind him. Not Blue Mosquito, Blue Flag behind him for now. Too many blues in this league. Doing a nice job making that Porsche very wide indeed. All legitimate, all fair. Down through the final turn at Clark they go for the, this will be the 6th time. Cripps has done 6 laps and these guys will just be finishing that off as they go through this. Let's go back up to the front then as we've got Cripps and Iggy. Iggy's having another look at him. Unfortunately missed it last week. Ah, evening Grumps. Yeah, I wasn't sure what happened there. I saw you in the gravel at turn 1. You're never quite sure. It's a tricky corner. Yeah, that gap from is just falling off behind Iggy again. It's 4 seconds now, that gap. Toco's still got Blue Mosquito behind him. Ponage is doing a great job keeping Blue Flag and unsafe release behind. So, yeah, whether any of those fancy trying to throw a bit of a strategy move into the mix. Ponage will probably, if he wants to keep that 6th place, will just have to respond to whatever they do. If one of them's if they were working together as a team, they could do a pincer. But fortunately for Ponage, they're not. No one up front fancy it. No, Iggy and Cripps don't fancy it. I'm always wondering what the tyres are like. Is there anything, any view, Grumps, if you're still on, as to what the strategy was? Was it going to be pit for tyres, or is it just pit for fuel around here? Just no one seems to be interested in the Lee Cole's at the back now. Don't seem to be interested in going in for the early pit stop just for fuel at the minute. There's a familiar sight, the two Mercedes of Cripps and Iggy. As they make their way around the track, Frome is 4.2 behind, so that gap is just slowly extending. Frome's, again, just gently stretching away from Tocco. So barring any, I don't want to call it too early, but sort of barring anything unusual happening, you'd imagine that the top three will be the three that are currently in those positions. Barring anything weird in a pit stop or disconnection or something, these things happen, of course. Certainly looks like on pace that will be your three. As round Clark curve comes Cripps for the for the 8th time now. Just the 4/10, you almost don't need the timer. Oh, Lee Cole, I've noticed, is off at the back of the track. That's an unusual place to spin it. That's a very unusual place to spin it. Usually you'd run wide there, not on the inside. Finding some blue flag. Looks like he's got a nice move then. Has he got one on Ponish? Is he going to look at it sending it? Ponish covers him off nicely. That's a beautiful break-in. Lovely break-in line from Ponish. Just runs a bit wide though. Blue flag. Contact! Contact! That's unfortunate contact. I thought it was just a racing incident to me. They both seem to just come together. That's a shame though. Blue flag. We saw him smash his car up at the start of the race, and he's bumped it now as well, unfortunately. I really should look at sourcing this replay buffer that you can do on OBS, because that might have been nice to watch again just to get a feel for what happened. But yeah, that was an unfortunate incident there. It looked clean. Oh, Tocco has gone very wide. Can Blue Mosquito take advantage around the outside? It's going to be a brave move. He's got the inside line then for the last corner. Does he have the position? It looks like he does. He's got his nose ahead. Yes, he has. As Blue Mosquito makes his way through past Artemis Tocco, who just ran wide, but he looks like he's got a good run. Cole's spinning the pit lane, unfortunately. Tocco and Blue Mosquito are going at it. Lee Cole's right in front of them as well. Getting lapped. Will they get out the way? Not at the minute. Back up to the front then. Let's watch as Iggy and Cripps go at it. Cripps looks like he ran a bit wide then, so Iggy's got a nice little run down the hill, then up the hill as they get towards Hawthorns. I'm not sure he'll be in a position to make a move. No, he won't be. These cars, of course, they're the same cars, very evenly matched, and very evenly matched drivers as well. Frome there in a fairly neat looking third place. He needs these two guys to scrap, and scrap a lot if he wants to have any chance of getting ahead of them. Yeah, they seem fine. So Cripps not really paying for that mistake. We saw him go wide. It's not cost him anything at the minute, so he's able to keep that position, keep the defence going. He's going to have Iggy there for a while yet, as neither of them fancies the pit stop. Let's see if I can find. Taking slightly different lines up around there. That's what I was saying. Iggy just making some moves, just trying to. Make a move and try and just distract Cripps if he can. Lee Cole, so he's crossed the line there, hasn't he? That's what it's still said about the penalty for the pit lane. And here we just come down towards Surtees. And this was where Cripps just ran a bit wide last time. Seemed like he did. Yeah, keeps it much neater this time round. Let's just go back and see if I can find what happened then between Ponish Town and Blue Flag. Just having a look on the stream. Still near each other there, so it didn't happen that long ago. There we go, so let's see, Ponish moved across, ran a bit wide into the hairpin, then as they came out of it, yeah, they both just went for the same bit of tarmac, frankly. Ponish, I think, accelerated, Blue Flag looked like he just drifted a bit wide into him. It's just unfortunate they both just went for the same bit of track at the same time. So, shame there. Blue Flag's obviously got in, repaired that damage. He has got then, have a look at that, an incredible amount of free tarmac in front of him just to try and pump in some hot laps now. So he's just going to be going as hard and fast as he can with as few sexual connotations as possible and try and do a big undercut then on Ponish. Be obviously more difficult because he had that crash. Lost a lot of time. This isn't an undercut from a half a second behind. But he seemed like he had the pace. Whether he had enough to make up what he lost, we'll see. Iggy is still all over the back of Cripps. Really pushing him. It's, I mean, the way it looks, he's hard to... Well, he won't bet against either of them. It's pretty much going to come down to the pit stop and who can get the best stop, get the car stopped, get the entrance right, and nail that out lap as well. But Iggy seems to have the measure of Cripps at the minute. But can he find a way past? On track, it is going to be very, very tricky. Unsafe release has got Cablo right behind him. Was he just overtaking Cablo? Not sure if I've missed something going on there or not. Let's just pop back up to the front then. Just over, well, one more lap then, and then we'll have half an hour of this race to go. Spread out a bit again apart from these two guys, Cripps and Iggy. Going at it again. They did this last week. Neck and neck the whole way. And then there was, if I remember rightly, I think Iggy made a mistake because it was Cripps that came out the winner. Cripps has won all the races this season so far, 3 out of 3. He says pretty confidently. I'll wait till that comes back when I'm sure he has. Try and find some space now. Probably what he would like to do. Depends how much they've discussed their strategy, these two guys, but what they would probably like to do would be maybe give him a dummy. Try and fool Cripps into it. So if Iggy sort of shows like he's going into the pit lane, try and fool Cripps to going in, preventing an undercut, and maybe try and get him out of the way and then go for a big overcut. As it is, not any way past. So there never really was too many places to overtake, and these guys are so even. Even on a Herman Tilke track, they'd probably struggle to find somewhere to go past. Great for it's great for the championship, but Cripps has won all the races, so he needs to have a shocking performance in one of the races to the Open. In fact, I don't think he quite wins the championship if he wins tonight, but he'll sort of win it in effect as long as he turns up next week. He's got the pace. Nothing going from Iggy there. I think they take very different lines into that first turn. They are bearing down on Blue Flag in front of them. And he won't want to see that. He of course wants to get on with it. He doesn't want to be getting lapped and having to wait up for the leaders as they come through. Oh, Iggy just got on the grass a bit there. It's going to be that sort of mistake that changes the results on this race. These guys are going to have to be almost flawless. Whichever one of them is will be taking the win. Great show so far. The only shame, of course, the man that's won the first 2 FTRL championships, Sweeney, He doesn't have the DLC for this season, so he's having to have a few weeks off, but we hope to see him back next season, and these two guys will be looking to push for his crown, the GT3 champion. Cripps ran a bit wide. Does Iggy have any kind of run on him this time? He is so close, and he just seems to have the pace, but he just can't find a gap as they come down to the last turn, and no, there's just nowhere to go. Cripps even leaves him space, left him racing room, and again, that may well have cost Cripps a bit of straight line speed, but Iggy's going to try and go around the outside. That's going to be a brave move into turn 1 here at Brands Hatch, and he doesn't go for it wholeheartedly, let's say. His discretion is the better part of valour, and I think in that case it was. Not worth it. Second is a good position. Obviously I want the win. You don't want to risk that, because if you go wide and into the gravel there, as fast as Iggy is, as we've seen, it's not easy to overtake, and I don't think he'll be chopping his way through these guys behind, should he fall behind them. So he certainly doesn't want to be doing that. I'd move away and look at someone else, but at the minute it's just these two guys going at it, and I don't really want to miss if something happens, because it's just starting to get a bit more edgy. Like Iggy's moving around a bit. Concentration starts to go. We're nearly halfway through the race. You know, not too much fatigue, but a bit of mental fatigue. The concentration's not easy to keep up all the time. It's very easy to snatch a break, miss a braking marker, as I say. There goes Iggy. Just trying to push, just trying to give himself that extra tenth, just to get closer up behind Cripps. Oh, saying that, back in the back straight, looks like not Ponage Town, Duo Finn has got past Cablo. So I've missed that. Cablo has just been dropping back there. I've missed what's been happening to Cablo. And Iggy has pitted. Iggy goes in the pits. So he's decided that there's nothing going for trying to overtake on track. He's going to go for the strategic undercut. Of course, there's Cablo. That's what happens to Cablo. Oh, that's not a good place to crash. He took out a brake marker as well, which isn't going to be well appreciated by everyone else. We'll see what happens as these guys come up to it. Blue flag's going to be the first one to get there. Oh, that car's looking beaten up. Barely keep it on the road. I'm assuming that Cablo will be coming into the pits now to get that damage repaired. Yeah, there he goes. Giannetta's looking very beaten up. Can he get it? He does. Very gently done. Let's just have a look then at blue flag as he comes around towards where Cablo took that brake marker out. Just see if it appears to be a problem. No, not too much. So kept that nice and secure. Cripps then comes through there. All looks fine. These guys, they know the break points, they know the rhythm of the track. No one's struggling, so that's good. Don't want to be causing a problem, having an issue. Taco coming through, Ponage Town in the Porsche. Let's just keep an eye on what he's doing. Cripps has carried on. Ponage runs a little wide there. Nice and neat. So Iggy's got 7 seconds to Ponage Town, so it's a nice bit of track to drive in. We're halfway in the race as it's just popped up. 25 minutes down, 25 minutes to go. It looks like it will be 32 laps then, as we've done 16. Cripps, of course, has to pit, so it's going to be close. Close between 32 and 33. Toco's in the pits as Iggy moves up into 5th place on track. Excuse me. In fact, while we're doing this, I will do what I did last week, and if I can find my clock app, I can stop the stopwatch, as Murray Walker used to say, on a particular point, and then we'll watch as Iggy gets there as well. Go for, just ran a little wide. and takes a lot of curb. So down to Iggy. So we talk about the apex at Sheen, where I made that mark. So we'll see how Iggy does as he comes across there. There he goes, runs wide again though, so 30 seconds Iggy's behind. You're not going to be wanting to do that line too much. Yeah, 30.2 seconds I had that one up, but obviously it's not that exact. Let's go and watch Blue Mosquito. We've not seen too much of Blue Mosquito. So we can go past Artemis Taco before. Taco around wide, he's just keeping Frome honest. Not sure how much he's creeping up on him, but we'll keep an eye on it. There's car 21, just keep an eye on where Cripps is so I can do another sector time. Let's say, of course, tonight's race or race refreshments are brought to you by Bombay Sapphire Gin. I think they've probably been sponsored by them before. Blue Mosquito, yeah, it just drops a little bit behind, but it looked like he struggled to get out of Surtees a bit earlier. He's going to keep Frome honest. We'll see how they do as they get to the pits as well. It might be another spot. One of them gets a better stop, gets the clutch set properly. Iggy's not closed up, he's still 30.5 seconds behind. Eye on as he crosses the line now, so there goes Blue Mosquito over the line, and let's go and find someone else to follow. Let's give Cablo a go. We saw Cablo having a crash before. I'm hoping he's not going to do that again now. See Cablo have a good solid lap in that Ginetta, one of the only guys to choose that car. I think there is one other guy who chose the Ginetta. There goes Iggy across the line, again that gap still 30 seconds, just creeping up I make it, so it's just gone up by maybe half a second, but you are, depending on how accurate my finger is on my phone. So again, they're both driving around in clear air. There seems to be no difference in pace particularly between Cripps and Iggy. Just start another one going. As Cablo comes through Graham Hill Bend, that one is. As we go to the history of Graham Hill, of course Damon Hill's father. Through Surtees towards Pilgrim Drop. Lovely racetrack, lovely historic racetrack here, Brands Hatch. I believe I've read it properly on previous. Oh, I've missed Iggy crossing there. From sort of previous races and histories and things, they're only allowed 12 races or something here a year, or 12 weekends a year or something like that. The locals moved in next to a racetrack and then don't like the noise. What are you going to do? It's like buying a house near an airport, complaining about planes, really. But anyway, that's for me. That's my moan and gripe. Just let the cars race, man. Through Clark Curve. I'll just check with Iggy. It seems like he made a little bit of time up on Cripps that lap, but again, still very much 30 seconds is the gap. Down Paddock Hill Bend. Just while we were watching Cablo, noticed that our good friend Blue Mosquito has crept up towards Flying Frome, who also, interestingly enough, is creeping up towards C. Cripps. That gap is now 4 seconds. I don't know if, well, I once thought the car would make too much of a difference, because Frome, of course, is in the same car as Cripps. The Blue Mosquito is just sneaking that gap down. We're 20 minutes to go. These two guys haven't pitted yet. Cripps looks like he's still going. Rome goes then in the pits as I say that. So does Blue Mosquito have some fast laps in him? Can he pull the undercut? Can Frome pull the... No, Frome will be in the undercut, we need to hold the gap. Blue Mosquito, can he pull the overcut? I need to watch him, I don't think. But while we're here and there's not too much on track, we'll watch what Frome does. Ziggy crosses the line, and I make that gap just under 30 now. Just under 30. Frome is going to come out right next to Cablo. Cablo stays well wide. Very good stuff there from Cablo. Just make sure he stays out of the way. Doesn't want to get in the way of one of these guys' races. This is the battle then for third place. And we'll see then. So Blue Mosquito's just gone through the line. We're just interested to see what that gap is between Blue Mosquito and Flying Frome. If those two guys were close, we can see if Frome had a decent pit stop or not based on the 30 seconds that Iggy's back. So we're all learning stuff all the time while streaming around here on ACC with FTRL. With 11 drivers still in this race. Hopefully one more race of this season to go. I believe Nürburgring next week. Slightly longer race. So let's see if Frome's about to... It is about 30 seconds, that gap. So Frome is doing the same as Blue Mosquito. And Cripps is in the pits. So Blue Mosquito will take the lead temporarily. Bonus Town is staying out as well. Isn't it? That's a very nice gin, if I do say so myself. Cripps was pitted, and out he comes. And Iggy is going to come charging towards the line. Cripps is near the end of the pit lane now, and he's going to, looks like he's going to hold on to the lead as Ponish Town around the outside, but Cripps is going to hold on. The tyres are going to be slightly cool. Is Ponish Town going to get involved? Cripps has to go defensive, and he has got a second or two then on Iggy. Ponish is right in the middle. He's racing for position. He's not being lapped. He doesn't have to give that place up at all. But of course, how much it affects his race remains to be seen. But yeah, whether Ponish fancies getting involved in that, I don't know. It'll also be a good show as to what I was saying before about how easy it is for guys that are quicker to overtake. Because of course we know Iggy does have the pace on Ponish, but can he get past him? Get into that battle for the lead. We've got 15 minutes of this race left, 16 minutes. And, well, at the minute, Cripps is on 4 from 4. And difficult to see where he's going to get that back as Blue Mosquito carries on for another lap. So he will officially lead a lap. And back here, you've got Ponish ahead of Iggy. 8 minutes left of that pit window. These guys still going. Of course, no waiting for a safety car in here as Ponish carries on. Iggy would have hoped to see him go into the pits. That gap is about a second and a half then to Cripps. Nearly 2 seconds. Yeah, this is the last thing Iggy wanted to see. He probably can't believe he's managed to have missed Frome crossing the line behind Blue Mosquito as well. Too busy watching this race. Ponish almost running a bit of a disruptor race here. That gap's just going to keep extending, you would imagine, between Ponish and Cripps, and therefore Cripps and Iggy, unless Iggy can make his way past. Just looking at in terms of where Ponish may come out then. There's car 67 there. Probably behind Tocco. I guess Ponish will be coming out in 6th when he does come out. Yeah, gap then 2 seconds between Iggy and Cripps. Mosquito, he's going to carry on. Mosquito then not fancying any kind of stop. 6 and a bit minutes to go in that pit window. Iggy will be going crazy. He'll wish the pit window was much, much shorter. Ponage be coming in, or is he enjoying his truck roll? Looks like he's carrying on. He is. And across the line, and that gap is again still 2 seconds between Cripps and Iggy, and that is essentially the battle for the race lead. Mayor Frome is 33 seconds behind Blue Mosquito now, so Blue Mosquito looking like he might have pulled off an overcut. Let's see how that works for him. That gap is extending. We'll just keep a check on it again now. Of course, it depends how well Blue Mosquito does the pit lane. Again, based on that 30 seconds that Cripps had on Iggy, 2 seconds more than enough. He's got to be getting so frustrated here. Probably just keeping up though with Cripps, to be fair to him. He's not slouching. Still there, 1.4 seconds behind, so he does have the pace there. I think he would want to get clear of him. Start trying to make a move, get closer to him. As Blue Mosquito does come into the pits now. Interestingly, Cripps. Well, Cripps is 25 behind Blue Mosquito. So if it is a 30-second pit stop, Blue will be coming out well ahead of Frome. Let's see if he does. Ponage carries on. He stays there. Oh, it is going to be close between Blue Mosquito and Frome. In fact, it's not. Blue Mosquito gets a great overcut. So the Aston Martin makes his way up into what is a net third place. Flying Frome there, weaving in frustration. Can't believe that he's lost time in the pits again. Cripps moves back into the lead. Ponage still out there in second place, getting in the way of Iggy. I say, doing a great job. He's not falling behind. It's been 1.5 seconds behind Cripps now for the last 3 or 4 laps. That Porsche is quick around here. Yeah, Iggy, this is what I was saying, it's certainly not easy to overtake. This is certainly where you'd want to try and make your strategy play. Oh, he's doing a great job. Iggy right behind him now though. Can he find anywhere to get past? He can't. Not this turn. Anything doing on the back straight here as they come down towards Clark Curve. There's 3 and a bit minutes of the pit window left. Can Ponage make his way in? He will this time. That was close. Ponage will come into the pits. Can Iggy then catch that 2.5 seconds up behind Cripps that he needs to get to? Frome is a second and a bit behind Blue Mosquito as well, so we may have 2 battles coming down to the wire. As Ponage stops on his markets. Taps on a bit of fuel. 10 minutes of this race to go. And yes, Ponage will be coming out in 6th place, barring some kind of Ferrari type pit stop, because unsafe release is way behind there. So the man I was saying we didn't see much of earlier, Blue Mosquito, we'll be seeing a lot of him now because he's got Flying Frome battling with him. And Iggy's not caught up to Cripps at the minute, so he's got 10 minutes to try and catch and pass. And, well, he had half an hour or so earlier and he couldn't get past, so it's going to be an effort for him to get past. Frome is 1.7 behind Blue Mosquito. Liking that Aston Martin. Ponage Town is a lot closer to unsafe release than I thought he might be. But he is ahead. Watch that gap as they come through that first sector, and it's 5 and a bit seconds, so that's a lot closer than I expected it would be. I don't know if Ponage had some issues in the pits or maybe a bit of damage repair. But he's come out in 6th. That's where he would have expected to come out. Frome's not closing that gap, and neither is Iggy. So we've got 9 minutes of this race to go. And what I was saying earlier, if you want to go back and listen to it, was completely wrong. I was saying it would be Cripps, Iggy and Frome on the podium, and I couldn't see a way that that wasn't going to happen. Happy to report I'm wrong, well, as it stands. Well, let's say I was certainly wrong, because I thought it was definitely going to be 1, 2, 3, those two. It certainly isn't definitely going to be, if that makes sense. It could still well be, but it's closer than we expected. I certainly didn't expect to see another car in the top 3 with 8 minutes to go, and looking so solid as well. That Blue Mosquito is 4 seconds. I'll keep an eye on that gap between Blue Mosquito and Iggy as well, actually. It was 4, and it's now 3.8. So where I was saying about Iggy trying to catch up to Cripps, Blue Mosquito is looking good at the minute. His car seems to be... And Iggy again, kicking up some dust on the exit. The Sheen curve, coming up to Sterling. Might be a bit too much of a gap to try and close up in 7 and a bit minutes. The window is about to close, but everyone has done their mandatory pit stop. So that gap, which was 3.8, is now 3.9. So always good to talk these gaps up that don't happen. Further on back, we've got Unsafe Release has got Blue Flag closing up to him. Blue Flag, of course, had that unfortunate incident with Ponish Town earlier. So damage repair and try and drive the undercut hasn't really worked out that way, but we'll see if Blue Flag can at least make his way into 7th as he really goes for it then to Sheen. So gaps at the front, you've got Cripps, 2 seconds to Iggy, 4 seconds then back to Blue Mosquito and 2.3 to Frome, so those gaps are just starting to spread out a bit again. Safe Release just struggling to get that car in through the last turn. Eager to get on the throttle, and that's going to cost him more time as Blue Flag comes up behind him. Half a second. Blue Mosquito closes up a little bit then towards Iggy, but nothing excessive as Unsafe Release runs wide, and that's going to allow Blue Flag to get even closer still. 7th and 8th place here with 6 minutes to go. He runs wide again, struggling with that car as Blue Flag's going to have a look up the inside. Coming up to Surtees, and has he made that stick? It looks like he has. Just about consolidating it as you come out the last turn, and he certainly seems to have done. Unsafe Release struggle to get the power down, and Blue Flag then. Nice move, forcing the pressure. We'll just drop the camera underneath that, thank you. And he's up then into 7th. Front, you can see that Iggy is still just under 2 seconds. And Blue Mosquito just dropping off now. The back of Iggy. Anywhere else that there's a bit of a scrap? I'm not sure if there is. Between Unsafe Release and Blue Flag seems to be done. I don't know if... Who have we got here? We've got it's Lee Cole being lapped then by Artemis Taco. This is... So we'll just pop back up to the front. That's Cripps, who has won all 3 races so far. So he looks good for a 4th, but real mistake there, and Iggy is now right up behind him. But as we saw earlier, it's that old cliche, it's one thing catching someone, it's another thing passing. It certainly is around this track. Nowhere really to send a dive bomb. You're really trying to force your opponent into the mistake, and the mistake that you want as well. That's the tricky thing. You've got to be ready to pounce on it when it does happen. That gap is now half a second, as you can see, so whether they're just doing this to entertain us, who knows. Cripps then Feeling the pressure of Iggy, who's right up behind him again now. We've got 4 minutes of this race to go. We've got, once again, the two Mercedes of Cripps and Iggy, nose to tail. These guys spend an awful lot of time on track near each other. Will Iggy die wondering tonight? Will he try and... I say try and send something. Can he even try and send something? It's not easy to do anything like that, so... Cripps runs a bit wide there again. Iggy might fancy it now. That's going to bring him really close. Let's see who's bravest, takes the most turn out of this one. They both take a fair bit of corner. Cripps and Iggy, nose to tail as they go down towards the last turn, Clark curve for the 30th time. We are going to have 2 more laps, I would expect. They intend to be doing 1 minute 30, yes. So we are going to have a 30 lap race. Cripps just touches the grass on the inside. That might just cost him a bit of straight line speed. Iggy's going to be brave to try and go around the outside into turn 1. But is he going to try and force Cripps into a mistake? Can he try and get the power down and do a little switchback? Up towards Druids, nothing happening there. That's about the only place you could really look at trying to send one and leave it in there, but nothing happening there. Blue Mosquito and Frome still not coming together too much. Blue Mosquito with a great race so far. We don't really need the time between these two. It says there's 2 tenths, we don't need to know there's 2 tenths. Iggy's back to pushing in Cripps around the circuit. This lap, half a lap or so of this one, and then 1 more after it. Cripps is, well, he's holding on in a way. Iggy's right there. He's just no let up at all this week. All the pressure on Cripps. Desperate to find his braking points. Iggy making a right nuisance of himself. They're both taking lovely lines, almost the same line. You can almost drive them as ghost cars. 1 more lap to go then after this. It's Cripps and Iggy, as it has been so often. Less than a second. As it has been so often, Iggy trying to get as much pace as he can down towards turn 1, so he's going to be a bit further back to do anything this time. There it is, there's the final lap called. Through Paddock Hill, up towards Druids. Iggy's not there for a move. Cripps keeping it nice and tidy, that's all he has to do now really. He's got 1 or 2 particularly crucial turns to go. This one isn't really one, just make it tidy. Graham Hill, this is one of them. Surtees, find your brake marker, get the car turned in, don't run it wide, get on the power, and he seems like he has done this time. That would be one of the spots where Iggy would have wanted to try and capitalise on a mistake, but nothing doing there. As Cripps drives down the straight, he's got plenty of time up the hill towards the right hander at Hawthorns. Again, keep this one tidy, you're not going to make a gap. On the run down towards Westfield, into Westfield, Iggy takes a bit of a cut. He's got a great run, but again, there's nothing really doing here. This is where you want to be keeping it tidy. Through Sheen towards Sterling's. Iggy has a look, late on the brakes, but somehow no contact, and down the straight as they go to the last turn. What's going to happen? Are they going to try and go for it? They're right next to each other. Iggy can't find a gap. He's going to be so frustrated as Cripps and Iggy, they're going to have a drag towards the line, but it is going to be Cripps, I think. I don't think Iggy's got enough on it, but it's going to be so close, and Cripps wins by 3 tenths. A great race between the two of them. Blue Mosquito, a great race for him to come third. Flying Frome, well, that's just terrible, frankly. Fourth, they'll be disappointed with that, and we'll probably call his mum and tell him what a disappointment her son is. Taco. I hope Frome appreciates that. Taco coming in then in 5th. Lee Cole and Cablo will be finishing off their races just ahead of him. Unsafe release. Crossed the line in 11th. So he's had a few issues and dropped back. Bonage Town. Had a nice race. A little unfortunate incident with blue flag, but I think it was just an incident. I'll show when they look back at it. Bonus down crosses to come 6th. Blue flag will be 7th, and then as we just wait for Duo Finn to cross the line, is anyone doing some donuts? Doesn't look like it. Rome's out there as well. So next week is the final race of the season. It'll be the Nürburgring. Say, Cripps hasn't wrapped up the title yet, but I would expect he will do. Just simply that he has such a lead. You never know what's going to happen, but yeah, join us next week then for, I believe it's a longer race, might be 80 minutes or 90 minutes at the Nürburgring. Nice racing tonight, 0.3 of a second then between Cripps and Iggy. And it wasn't much more than that, most of the race really. That bit where Iggy got stuck behind Ponage, he was almost pushing Cripps around all the way. You wonder what would have happened if, you know, if Iggy had got ahead of him on the line at the start, but he didn't. Cripps takes another win. Can he be stopped? Can he take the clean sweep next week? There's Iggy just giving him a little. Is that Iggy giving him a tap? Car 6 Hours Taco just giving Cripps a bit of a tap there. So yeah, so we'll. We enjoyed that race, and we'll be back next week for the final race of the season at the Nürburgring. So until then, everyone stay safe, enjoy the week, enjoy whatever racing